Head of Inclusion and Support at Bronavon at the time that I undertook the training. Since the training, I've now actually moved roles and I'm still in housing and work for Alliance Homes in North Somerset. I decided to develop resilient skills both for me as a leader and for my team because we were going through a lot of change within the organisation at all kinds of levels really. There were things such as the government's welfare reform, which was really having to change the way we work as a service and putting quite a lot more pressure on, particularly on our customers, but also on us to make sure that we managed to collect our income. There was also within the organisation a change at the sort of senior level, which meant that we were seeing a sort of change of direction. Our organisation at the time was 10 years old and it was ready to move into its second phase, if you like, and that actually involved quite a significant change of approach, which was making people feel unsettled, and I could see through increasing absence rates and the way people were behaving that they were finding it quite stressful and not really always able to manage that. So in terms of the actual specific issues that the organisation was facing, it was, as well as welfare reform, we were just facing a more competitive environment. So for example, we'd had a support contract for a number of years, it was re-tendered. That actually meant that we had to put in a much more competitive bid than we would have done in the past. And in doing so actually meant that staff were going to be having slightly lower salaries, which obviously has a big impact on people. And in fact, as part of that, we found ourselves embroiled in some industrial action, which really impacted resilience, and this training came at exactly the right time to help kind of move through the aftermath of that, if you like, because as you can imagine, if a team goes through industrial action, resilience is on the floor really, and for me as their leader that was also difficult. The whole organisation was affected by it, even though it was a small number of people, and I suppose this training really helped me get some perspective on that, deal with it, get over it and move on, and also really as a leader help my team to move on. So working with Choose to Grow, to be honest, was an exceptionally positive experience for me. It's training that's delivered in a way that really works for me, so a really good balance of practical application with good materials to back it up. The actual course itself lasted 100 days, but that only involved 3 half days of input and then support throughout, which was again really good for busy people, really great to only have to take 3 half days out of your diary, but to be able to keep in touch via a WhatsApp group for the whole of the 100-day period. I found that particularly useful because it just meant I was still learning even though we weren't in the sort of traditional classroom situation, and as far as I've never worked within a training organisation that does that kind of more innovative thing, and there are always some little special twists which were really important to me. So for example, on one of the 3 half days we had a little envelope waiting for us and it had a little sort of gift in it for us, and for me I keep that with me a lot of the time, and it sort of also helps me because it's linked to resilience. It always makes me think back to the tips and techniques as well. So I would say just a really fresh, innovative way of delivering training which takes as little time as possible out of a busy person's day, but is very impactful and something that you can easily embed within your organisation when you get back. I think the resilience course that I did with Choose to Grow was literally one of the courses that I've properly managed to embed. It's usually quite easy to go on a training course and then forget about it when you get into the work environment. Absolutely not so with this resilience training, because it's something where I've learned to see my own resilience drop in. I can deal with it. I've also, since I did the course, I've actually moved into a different role, and I put it at the heart of the development of my new management team right from the start. And what I've seen is, even in a 6-month period, some massive increases in individuals' resilience by managing them like that from the start. From a whole organisation point of view, I think I opened people's eyes to the benefit of resilience training, if you like. So, some fellow members of my senior management team were a little sceptical of it, I suppose, and they saw when I came back and was sharing some of my tips and techniques with them, which I did, that actually this is a very valuable tool in terms of being a well-rounded leader and making your teams perform. I think when it actually came to measuring the increase, I actually demonstrated a 50% increase in terms of my resilience and well-being, and I genuinely walked away from the training feeling that that was the case. It's definitely made me a better leader. It's enabled me to move on to support a whole new management team and actually pick up a management team to work in a different way quite quickly. I've seen morale increase significantly within my team, despite the fact that there are significant changes ahead for them. There are going to be some significant changes, they know that, but their attitude to it, because I think my attitude to it and my involvement of them has been one of, bring it on, let's face it. And that to me is the demonstration of a really resilient team. I just think the approach of Choose to Grow is a little bit different and it's all those small details you talk about, which is just really successfully makes people think a little bit differently and just get a little bit more from things. That's my, it's that kind of real professionalism with the kind of personal touch. So in terms of qualities that Choose to Grow can bring to an organisation, I think it's very clear that Choose to Grow really get to understand your organisation, get to understand the issues that you're facing and put very tailored personal solutions in place that make a real difference.